How dare you? I'm gonna make you
Jeremy
ride
starts
now, so
off with
you get attention
Street
for that.
Wraith. Pays 2 life to cycle it.
That's a card that we forgot to mention also. It gives you, just basically
It's a free
dig to get to one of your mana producers. Because remember, it's not you don't need 1, you don't need 2. You need 4 mana to play the flyer.
Chrome Mox.
Yeah, so in order to get to that
Prince
point.
Cabal Therapy, black mana.
And he has it, actually.
Simeon Spirit Guide exiled, so into a Manamorphose.
This is going to be a turn 1 kill?
Well, once the deck starts, yes.
I don't want to, this is just...
So here's what he...
Oh, you know what's funny though? If
mana count?
He has 1 Narcomoeba in his hand. If he has 2, can he not go off?
It's possible that that's the case.
Yeah, I think
it... Well, it depends on which creature he gets at. If it's the Balustrade Spy, it enters the battlefield.
Yeah.
Right? The other one, the Undercity Informer, has to sacrifice.
Well, the thing I'm saying at the very end, yeah, in order to reanimate it.
Yeah, so if you have 2 Narcomoebas and the Balustrade Spy.
Right. So if you draw 3, you can't do it.
Okay, so he imprints a Narcomoeba to another Chrome Mox. Uses 2 mana to play Cabal Ritual. It's going to make 3 black and then a blue. And there you go, the Balustrade Spy. So target me, I have no lands, going to flip my entire library, get 3 Narcomoebas here.
Yeah. Let's see you do it.
Yeah, let's go through it. You're on camera. Please, Jeremy, by all means, we would like to see you do this combo for the people at home so that we know how it works, so we can play this deck in tournaments.
Right, so he's asking a shortcut here, which is perfectly okay.
Yeah.
And he's going through and then pulling out Narcomoebas. Then he's going to flashback a Dread Return, putting into play the Angel of Glory's Rise.
Rise from your grave. Do you know what that's a reference to?
No, I don't, actually.
It's a video game. What do you think about that for
Rise from your grave?
Yeah. Would it help if I said rise from your grave? That's the voice. One of our directors, Shoebox, obviously knows, and he's giving me a high five off to the side.
No,
You're welcome, Shoebox.
Was this on a Commodore computer or an Atari?
Tweet us with the hashtag SCGMKE if you know what that is a reference to, that video game. Classic video game, one of my favorites.
Nope.
Okay, so
Stumped.
Angel of Glory's Rise. Exile all zombies. Return all humans from the graveyard to your battlefield. And I forgot to...
Andrew again. Andrew, actually, we're going to call Andrew Dziedzic the mid-game handshaker. We're going to call him the mid-game handshaker because
he loves it. He didn't know.
He actually shook his opponent's hand last round twice, and I'm pretty sure he knows how Delver works. So I think he likes to shake hands. So that's it.
Yeah, but he didn't know what was going on. He saw the deck list, but he's like, I'm not sure how you win, so let's just see it.
Yeah, I have nothing against sportsmanship at any point.
No.
Nothing at all.
He was genuinely excited to see that, as was I, and I hope you were.
Okay, yeah, and I'm actually going to change my trivia question. I have a question for you for 6 months of free premium, okay? And the reason why is because kind of as a going away gift to a friend that we mentioned earlier, I want to ask you a question about this Oops Spells deck that we have.
Oops All Spells.
Oops All Spells deck that we have in front of us here.
Actually, there's an exclamation point written here, so I guess it's
Oops
All Spells.
All Spells. So, who wrote an article recently about this deck, has championed this deck like he champions all other silly decks that shouldn't be played outside of your kitchen table. And he's a good friend of mine. He has worked for Star City. Now he's at Wizards of the Coast. So who is the inventor of this deck, or at least the champion of this deck? Wrote an article about it for Star City Games, and now works for Wizards of the Coast there in Seattle. Go ahead and tweet us at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium, with the correct answer, and then we'll choose one at random, completely random.
No need to rush.
No need
Do
to rush.
your
Take your
research.
time.
Go read the article. It's a fantastic article.
Yep.
And champion, I believe, is the correct term.
Yeah, he didn't.
As following the conversation on Twitter, it seems like they were indicating that someone else was the one who came up with it.
Yeah, like I said, I played against this deck months and
months
and months ago, so it's not something that's just completely brand new. But he's a champion of it.
The gentleman who wrote about it on Star City Games.
Who is it? Go ahead and tweet at us. So, and we'll give you some nice 6 months of good old reading. So.
And you can find out about more innovative decks.
Oh,
like
and
this,
while you're there,
perhaps.
actually, let me check a time check real quick. In
Yeah,
about 3 minutes, my article will be up.
No, I believe an
Eastern
hour.
time. Eastern
hour
time.
and 3 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
You're right.
Okay. So
in an hour and 3 minutes, check your clocks. Make
so
sure
if
it's
you
right.
missed it at the end,
Read
then
some great
Jeremy
article there.
Barbeau's win condition once again was Angel of Glory's Rise, getting back all humans. Then activating a zombie Lady of Scrolls, tapping an untapped wizard to draw a card. His library was empty, so he cannot draw a card. So normally he would lose, but he also had Laboratory Maniac. So instead of losing the game, you win the game.
That's a pretty nice
Interesting.
alternative reality there. Not able to draw cards, win the game. It's a fun.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just a fun card. I think it had a good flavor. I think right when people saw it, it had combo written on it if you're going to play it anyway. It's definitely not one of the worst cards of all time. It has some general purpose here, and we're showing you right now.
So now let's talk about how these two graveyard decks are going to possibly interact with each other. Oh my goodness, look at Jeremy Barbeau's sideboard. He has 4 Goblin Charbelchers, Grim Monolith, 4 Lion's Eye Diamond, 3 Tinderwall, 3 Spoils of the Vault. He can transform into a Goblin Charbelcher deck. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. He is playing most of the mana producers, all the free lands, and the Chrome Mox, and all he needs is some Lion's Eye Diamonds and ready to go nuts. So basically, he goes from being graveyard based to being Belcher based. Here's the kicker: that is an awful plan when your opponent sees your sideboard.
Yeah, but also Andrew Dziedzic does not have any graveyard hate here,
Yeah,
right?
so he's not going to
He's
even
got
need
the
it.
3 Leyline of Sanctity,
So
but
he's
no
not going to
Leyline
change.
of the Void.
So he's not going to change it at all.
No.
There's no reason to. How does the zombie read? Does the zombie say tap an untapped wizard? Each play, or you draw a card, right?
You draw a card.
You draw a
yeah.
card.
You
Okay.
can't target your opponent in any
Okay.
kind of way.
All right, so he's got Iona, which is pretty good against his deck, right? You just name black and he can't win, I think. That's where Belcher would come into play. So Andrew Dziedzic gets Iona out. But see how you're not going to get that out to turn 3 anyway-ish on Dredge or average. So by the time that's even relevant, Jeremy's already oopsed by then, right?
Yeah, but you can't even. It would be hard to get Belcher out without the black rituals.
No, I'm saying Iona resolved by Andrew is pretty much lights out for Jeremy either way.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah, so that's pretty good strategy there. But then again, it's going to be tough to do. What do you think about Nature's Claim as an LD spell against Chrome Moxes?
Well, they're gonna get the men off at the turn
You
they
can have
go
the
off.
imprint on the stack and then nail it.
Oh, good point. Good
So-
point. Imprint is a triggered ability.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good enough though to bring a Nature's Claim.
Is it better than nothing?
It might be better than nothing.
Because currently Andrew has nothing. I mean, he can try to combo faster, but we saw that Jeremy won on turn 1 with an ideal hand.
Yeah.
I think you have to have something to try to interact, and that's not a bad one. We'll see if Andrew Dziedzic has come up with that solution, but all he saw was that one game, presumably. Has not seen this deck in action very much. No one really has. This is the first time I think I've seen it in the top 8.
I definitely haven't seen this deck tearing up the Open Series or anything else really, but it's cool to see though.
So here's the benefit to playing an under-the-radar deck. People don't know how to beat you. I think the Nature's Claim and the Chrome Mox in response to the imprint is a good play, but
It might not be good
might
enough.
not realize it.
Yeah, well, maybe does, maybe doesn't. Definitely not the ideal situation to deal with Chrome Mox.
See Andrew smiling there, some laughter. I think they're saying that hand's just not good enough. How your Oops All Spells deck is so fast. Dredge usually takes 2 to 3 turns to get set up ideally.
Yeah. So we can pretty much hear them from over here, so we can determine what their thought process is here. He's thinking, brewing, trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. I think you can't keep a weak hand against his deck, so he'll just die, as you've seen, turn 1. It's not so good.
Alright, so several people knew the reference that you did not. The first one was solely at sol_t1_mtg. The video game I referenced with Rise from Your Grave was
Yeah.
Altered Beast.
I've never actually heard of that. I saw it over there.
Never heard of it. This is it's a fantastic game where you start off as a human, and as you get power-ups, you turn into a werewolf. And in the later levels, you turn into a were-bear or a were-tiger.
Is this on, what system is this
or a
on?
dragon. It was originally an arcade game, and then it was ported to Sega Genesis.
Do you ever remember the Sega CD? Remember that? That tried to take off.
No, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, Andrew's gonna mulligan here.
I thought we're close to deteriorating, like Chapin and I, into a Mortal Kombat discussion. I'm glad that wasn't the case. Or Street Fighter, if we want to segue into that.
I could talk about Street Fighter. I actually played the original Street Fighter, just one, or Street Fighter
Street
in
Fighter,
the arcade.
yeah. Me too.
Instead of the 6 buttons, you know, for the 3 for the punch, 3 for the kick, it had 2 buttons, 1 for punch, 1 for kick. And the strength of your punch and kick was determined by how hard you hit the buttons. It was like, instead of a button, it was like a big punching bag type thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was back in the time, I think, of the Ninja Turtles game in the arcade, too. I remember seeing.
Ninja Turtles, that was one of my favorites.
That was one of my favorites, too, yeah. These are great games.
The original one, the Simpsons game, very similar.
The Simpsons, oh yeah, he hit people with a skateboard and stuff. That game's great.
And the secret, the team up, if you have 2 or more players, you stand next to each other and don't do anything for a
You
while.
jump on their shoulders.
And then do the super moves.
Yeah, those are great, yeah. Memory lane. You guys have no idea what we're talking about, probably. So, alright, so we're going to have turn 1, ping myself Ancestral Recall Land. And, as Glenn pointed out earlier, who draws 3 cards with this card? You just bring back 3 things from the graveyard, so, Encephalid Coliseum.
Okay, so Andrew taps the Cephalid Coliseum, takes 1 damage, and casts Breakthrough. He's going to draw 4, and then keep all but X, but X is 0, so his whole hand goes to the graveyard. And let's see what it is. There's a Faithless Looting, Gemstone Mine, Cabal Therapy, Careful Study, Dread Return, City of Brass, and a Bridge from Below, another City of Brass. So, no Dredger, is that correct? On the mulligan, Andrew has kept a hand here that gets his hand in his
Matthew
graveyard,
McCullough
but doesn't
mentioned
do
that
anything.
Elish Norn is actually another great card against this deck because it would kill all those creatures as a state-based effect before the milling would actually work with Laboratory Maniac. So that's something important to note also. I think Iona is still better because it prevents you from ever doing that, and it prevents you from actually getting the mana for Charbelcher as well if you were to go that route. But why not have both, you know? Mill one of them, so.
Jerry Barbeau casts Jataxian Probe, looks at Andrew's empty hand, and seems like he's going for it here. Chrome Mox, Imprint.
If he has it, his opponent is dead again. He has the mana, I see it. He has a Wild Cantor in his hand.
Imprint
Which
what?
means that's, he has to wait a turn to get a mana from Wild Cantor, though. It's sacked to get a red or green, right?
Yes.
Pretty sure, so doesn't really mention
maybe
any-
one sack to get any color, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's any color. Alright, so Elvis Visionary
Could be red, green.
plus another one of those is enough. He's got Pedal too. He's got plenty of mana. If he has a creature in his hand, then he's gonna win right here.
Still deciding what to imprint on
Probably
Chrome Mox.
the Wild Cantor,
Goes
unless
with Elder Spirit Guide, which also would have made a mana.
I think he has tons of mana in his hand. I don't think he
Casts
has.
a Wild Cantor.
He doesn't have
Okay.
the creature. I don't think.
Lotus Petal, so he's setting up to be able to do it next turn.
He should play. Yeah, you definitely play out all your spells like that you can. Because
We've
Andrew's
seen
deck
the
has
Cabal
Cabal Therapy. Yeah.
Ooh, look at. Okay, I gotta mention this. Jay Ski on Twitter at JWSki says, "How about the Michael Jackson arcade game that was out around the same time?"
I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one where you do the moonwalk. And
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
You dance with your opponents to kill them. That was the point of the game.
All right, so
My favorite was the thriller level with the zombies.
I do remember that actually. How'd that go again? What's that?
It takes me a while to build back up to it.
All right.
My voice is naturally much deeper, so let me get some water here.
Yeah, let's hydrate real quick. He's got electrolytes in mine, so.
So yeah, the Michael Jackson game, you start dancing with your opponents, and then he goes, "Ooh." And now someone's gonna record that and make a soundboard out of me.
There you go. So that'll be good.
So this game not going according to anyone's plan.
No, this
The
is
two graveyard
This
tanks.
is when I played against it the first or the only time. This is what they did to me, and that's why the game lasted a while. When you don't have the actual win condition in your hand, you're sitting around with a bunch of really silly cards.
Wild Cantor attacking for 1.
Yeah, he actually could have played the Elvis Visionary, and not Visionary,
the Spirit
Elvis
Guide.
Spirit Guide, and have that as a 2/2.
A 2/2.
Or Narcomoeba as a 1/1 flyer, creating quite the ragtag army, if you will. I think
How much does Angel's Glory's Rise cost to
7.
hardcast?
7 mana.
That's a lot.
He
That's too
also
much.
he also has, I think it's that Wispmare in his hand.
Who does? Andrew?
I think Jeremy has one. Does he have Wispmare? He doesn't have that on his board. What's he holding in his hand? It's definitely not Wispmare.
Andrew has 2 Wisp Mares.
Yeah, it
in his
wasn't
board.
Andrew's hand. Look at Jeremy's hand. There's some card. What's that card in there?
The
I
white
can't see
one?
it. Yeah.
That's the Angel.
Oh, that is the angel. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't see it.
Angel
Really. It
is
looked
here.
like
Let's
Wispmare from it.
Let's make sure we keep it down, because Andrew, as we said, does have Cabal Therapy. We do not want to give anything away from the booth.
Yeah.
Very critical here now.
Actually,
A
if he-
hard cast Narcomoeba facing
he
off against a
actually
Wild
is not-
Cantor.
He's not far off. I think he has Dark Ritual in his hand. I think he actually cast the angel, and then with 1 more mana.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He has 6
make
mana with Dark Ritual.
5 mana.
He can make 6. He can tap the Lotus Belly. He doesn't have double white though.
So Andrew continuing to ping himself with the Cephalid Coliseum. Is he gonna cast another Narcomoeba? Has he just drawn back-to-back Narcomoebas? He has. This is just a...
I don't think I would cast that, only because the Gemstone Cavernal has 1 counter on it. So now, if you need to use that back-to-back, you're not going to be able to.
Well, yeah, he needs
Is
to
that
get
Undercity
he
Informant?
needs- Oh, so he found it?
He has Undercity Informant.
Okay. But he has the Angel in his hand, or is that he can therapy himself?
Does he have a therapy in his hand?
Well, when he plays the Informer, he's gonna flip his deck, so he'll have a therapy in his graveyard. What
Yeah,
is
he should be able to go off from here. He's going to
Yeah.
Ritual first,
Chromox.
and he's going to play
Imprint.
Undercity Informant, and he's going to sacrifice his Wild Cantor to
3.
this creature. Oh, he said that's why he laughed. Apparently, Jeremy
Drew the
Barbeau
Informer.
said, quote, "Now you're dead." So, very respectable. There's a card actually while he's going over this that I use when I play in
So he
Cube.
sacks the Informer, flips his
And
library.
he's gonna flip it. I throw it at my opponent and say, "You dead?" really loud. At the top of the gut ones, "You dead!" And that's Hitsugu's second right, because that's a very
Hide
exciting card
Tsuku's
to
second right.
throw at your opponent.
Deal 10 damage to target player if they are at 10 life.
Fantastic card. If
Yeah.
you don't have it in your cube, you're making a mistake. Just letting you know. Alright, so Jeremy says you're dead, and now he's going to make his opponent dead. He's going to go
He's
through
gonna
his promise.
therapy himself to put the Angel in his graveyard, and then sack the 3 Narcomoebas to flashback Dread Return, and get back the Angel, which will... Oh, we didn't get to see the Angel exile any zombies. I'm very disappointed.
Nope. Alright, here, look who we're doing stuff over here.
Humans. I can't believe the Wild Cantor is a human.
Yeah, why not?
It looks so wild.
It's just a human that's kind of like Jungle Book stuff.
Yeah,
Kind of
feral.
like just left in the wilderness and then raised by
Raised by
animals.
Cantors, whatever
Yeah.
a Cantor is.
So I think they're just forest people. I'm not a big lore man, so I'm not quite sure.
Angel of Glory's Rise. Love this. Love this.
Alright,
And
yeah.
look at that handshake. 2 hands.
Two
Grips.
hands.
Says thank you for having such a
It's almost-
fun deck.
This is the city of brotherly love, isn't it? Is Philadelphia?
Philadelphia? No, we are in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, I'm sorry.